Busy day here at Court TV and a busy day for the state of Florida, right? Let's head back to Florida, but for a different case. This is the sentencing of a couple accused of trying to kill two men who were simply trying to help them. Both Natalia Fonseca and Nafis Reynolds pleaded no contest to several charges, including attempted murder and kidnapping. Back in October of 2023, Fonseca met one of the victims, online and arranged to meet up. She introduced Reynolds as her uncle and then told the victim that she needed food and money. As the victim was trying to help, the two robbed him, slit his throat, then tossed him off a bridge. Thankfully, he survived. A week later, a second victim told police that the two robbed him at gunpoint while he was trying to help them pay for gas. Let's get you into that courtroom now in the state of Florida for this sentencing hearing. On the stand right now is a deputy describing his initial investigation.
All right, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Go ahead and take a seat.
Thank you.
You may.
Good afternoon. Please state your name, spell your last name for the record.
Lionel Martinez Jr., Martinez.
Mr. Martinez, where are you employed?
With the Escambia County Sheriff's Office on October 9th, being the only Spanish-speaking investigator on major crimes. I reviewed the report from the initial deputy and also the deputy who spoke with the victim at the hospital. I wanted to get firsthand statement from the victims. So I went up to Sacred Heart. He was still in the hospital. I spoke to him there, got some more details. He told me that he had met a female who had sent him a friend request on Facebook on October the 6th. That female reached out to him saying that she was hungry, wanted some food, asked for a pizza or some McDonald's, and he said, instead of that, can I get you some tacos? And she agreed to get some tacos. He met with her to give the tacos, took her to her house. Uneventful that day. The following day, she reached out again to him, wanted to see him again. That's October the 7th. He said he was at work. He'd be there later tonight. He met up with her at the same little house. She said she had to run an errand, and he's like, well, let me drive. And she's like, no, you don't know where you're going. Let me drive. So they went, ran the errand, came back to the house. When they came back to the house, she went in the house, was in there for a few minutes, and then she returned back to the van. He stayed in the van with a black male this time. The black male got into the van. The victim said that the black male showed him a gun, that he had a gun. He didn't think anything of it. It was like, okay. They were going to a cookout to an uncle's house. They drove him from that location to the uncle's house for the cookout. Once they were there, they had some drinks, they had some hamburgers. The victim wanted to leave. And they said, okay. So they went back. At that time, they told him, the black male began beating him with the pistol and his hands. Based on my investigation, I'll get to this. From there, they drove him. The female who spoke Spanish told him that this was a night that he was going to die, that they were going to drive him somewhere, take everything from him, and leave him there. So he said they drove for a while, and they came to a bridge. They got him out. The male and female began to beat him some more, and then he felt a knife on his throat, and they slashed his throat from one ear to the other. After doing that, they picked him up, threw him over the bridge. He fell in the water. He felt the stinging on his neck, knew that he had been cut, was able to swim to a little patch of land where, after swimming, was exhausted. By this time, it was almost daylight, and he said, waited there. Someone on a boat came over there, saw him. He waved them down for help. They didn't speak any English, Spanish. So they were able to bring him to shore. From that point, he walked from the marina to the Cumberland Farms, which is on Scenic Highway and Highway 90. There was a deputy there that was, starting his shift and getting some coffee and was able to get medical attention, and that's how he ended up at the hospital. Based on all that evidence, we were determined that the suspects were Natalia, applied for an arrest warrant. It was signed by a judge, and on October 23rd, they were taken into custody. They were brought to the sheriff's office for a formal interview. While interviewing Ms. Fonseca, I asked her, this is about the Mexican who, from the store, and she started to tell me about the details about picking him up at the Circle K, taking him to the house, and parking. She went in the house, and by the time she came out, everything had already happened, and he was gone. And I was a little confused. I was like, no, that's not, Mexican store I'm talking about. I'm talking about the one that had his throat cut. And then she just sat back in her chair and went, oh. I said, because he didn't die.
To our first victim, do you recollect what his name is?
It's a long first name, but it's easier for me to say Mr. Moreno Ocha.
Yes, sir. And that would be his last name?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's the individual we were talking with court about meeting at the hospital, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And when you spoke to Mr. Moreno Ochoa, did he talk to you about the items that were stolen from him by way of Ms. Fonseca and Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, sir, he did.
And what did he indicate was taken from his possession?
From his possession was his vehicle. It was a Honda Ford Odyssey, his wallet, and his cell phone. The Honda Odyssey was later found abandoned and burned, and it was a site under construction where the new Publix is now, which is Highway 98 and Blue Angel.
So, Investigator Martinez, this is State's Exhibit number 1. Can you talk to the court about the relevance of this photo?
Yes, this is the bridge where Mr. Moreno Ochoa said that he was gone over the side. And going back to the vehicle's plates were tracked using license plate readers. They were able to follow the vehicle of I-10. It went all the way to Avalon, Santa Rosa, and then from Avalon, it was tracked to Highway 90, and then coming across the bridge, Highway 90. Then it also hit our license plate reader at Scenic Highway and 90.
As we go to State's Exhibits 2 and Alpha, is this Mr. Moreno Ochoa?
Yes, sir.
Now, is this in fact a photograph of Mr. Ochoa taken on scene by, I believe it would have been Deputy Neal once Mr. Ochoa made it to shore to that gas station?
Yes, sir, it is.
We'll just kind of walk into those, and I anticipate there'll be different vantage points. States 2B, 2C, 2D, E, F, G. And did Mr. Moreno Ochoa also indicate that he can show up with a firearm?
Yes, sir, it did.
And are we not able to see the vehicle in State's Exhibit 3?
Yes, sir.
And was this the victim's 2006 Honda Odyssey?
Yes, sir, it was.
Although the picture showed a clear indication, was the vehicle a complete loss?
Yes, sir, it was.
Brutal crime there. Thankfully, these two victims survived, and they're brave. You're going to hear from one coming up. We're going to have to take a short break, but coming up, you're going to hear from one of those victims who survived being thrown off that bridge after his neck was slit. Then, one of the two defendants, you're going to hear from them before her sentencing. It's all straight ahead on Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice. Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson on this busy Friday. Let's head back to Pensacola, Florida for the sentencing of Natalia Fonseca and Nafis Reynolds. They pleaded no contest to multiple charges after allegedly robbing two men who were trying to help them. One of the men was beaten, his throat was slit, and he was thrown off of a bridge. Let's head back into court now for his victim impact statement and a statement from the defendant, who claims that she too was a victim.
After they cut your throat and threw you off of a bridge, did you have to stop working for a period of time?
Después de que le cortaron el cuello y le tiraron por el puente, ¿usted tuvo que dejar de trabajar por un tiempo? Yes, I stopped working for some time, about 3 months.
Even when you were able to return to work, were you able to return within the same capacity as you were before this incident?
Aún cuando usted pudo regresar a trabajar, ¿pudo regresar a trabajar con la misma capacidad que tenía antes? No.
Today, do you remain in fear of Ms. Fonseca and Mr. Reynolds?
Hoy mismo, ahorita mismo, usted todavía se queda con miedo de la señorita Fonseca y el señor Reynolds? Yes.
Is there anything else that you would like Judge Nobles to know prior to her sentencing these defendants today?
Yes, I would like you to punish them with what you feel like you need to punish them for, so they'll have their time in jail. But as far as the money, I don't need it. I've already lost it, and I can continue to work and make that up.
All right, ma'am, please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Go ahead and take a seat.
Ma'am, could you please state your name for the record?
Natalie Fonseca.
And you entered a plea on this case quite a few months ago, didn't you?
Correct.
Now, you have a letter that you'd like to read to the judge.
I do.
Your Honor, I've asked the court to allow her to read the letter to you, and then I'll go for some questions.
Any objection?
No.
That's fine.
We are never ready for the storms of life. You can search for shelter from the storm, but sometimes there is none to be found, and you find yourself completely exposed. Some of life's storms are loud enough that you make the best of them and dance in the rain, but others are so violent that they knock the wind out of you, leaving you gasping for air and questioning everything. There are no words for what both victims and myself have experienced. Even words dripping with me with so much unsaid. I can never get down on paper the mental, emotional, and physical abuse that has developed from being in a relationship with Mr. Reynolds since July 9, 2015. I felt the need to protect someone who created trauma within me and took advantage of my vulnerability. This phase in my life where my freedom was paused has taught me about life, and most importantly about myself. Not everyone has good intentions in life. Mr. Reynolds persuaded my mentor with rainbows and unicorns to get me out of my mother's house at the age of 16. Where I was once pure, enjoying life as a teen, I thought love was what I found, but love only became a mental illness. I became fragile, confused, addicted, even suicidal. Every visible scar on my body came from Mr. Reynolds. As of today, I acknowledge my mistakes and I know my worth. I can go back to school for not only my GED or diploma, but for my writing, to go beyond my crafty words, for my amazing talent doing hair, even eyebrows. I learned that honesty is a few steps in gaining trust, along with taking accountability for my own actions. I know in the beginning I was not completely honest, but I opened up, and it has relieved me of many nightmares and dark shadows. Even minimize my fears. Mr. Reynolds may not have succeeded in taking the victim's life or my life over the years, but he definitely changed it forever. I had a chance to speak up, but afraid of the many threats, I was regretfully silenced. And that was selfish of me. I will forever be hurt by what happened and the way it happened, because I, Natalie Fonseca, I am the victim.
Ms. Fonseca, I asked you at first if you were to plea. That was you taking responsibility for your actions, correct?
It was.
And after you entered that plea, you did depositions on this case.
I did 2 of them.
And in those 2 depositions, you told Mr. Longmire and Mr. Mitchell, you told them what happened, correct?
I did.
Now, while you've been incarcerated since October 23rd, 2023, correct?
Yes.
Now, I've got a stat, 45, 50 education courses that you took in while you were incarcerated, correct?
Yes.
Everything from wellness programs to Americans with Disabilities Act, being a mentor, all of it.
Yes, sir.
So while you've been in, before this case has come to resolution, you've been trying to improve yourself, correct?
I have.
And you're not trying to minimize your role in this case, are you?
No.
You take responsibility, and that's why you entered a plea,
For
correct?
my own actions, yes.
Now, we don't have family here today to speak for you, but you have family in the islands. Your mother and your sister and some other family, correct?
That's right.
And to the judge and to them, to everybody here, to the victims, you're taking responsibility, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have no questions.
Natalie Fonseca right there, using her statement of allocution to point the finger at the other guy. All right, let's bring in trial attorney Marjorie Mesidor, watching from New York along with you at home. I mean, no contest, accepting punishment without admitting guilt, but not disputing the facts. What do you think about this, pointing the finger across the courtroom there?
I don't think that there really was any other play here. The age difference between the 2 defendants, how young she was when she became involved with him, all of those things are relevant, and it really does look like that she is quite remorseful for what has happened here. At the end of the day, even he has indicated that he was the mastermind or was otherwise taking responsibility for quote unquote destroying both of their lives. I think it's appropriate under the circumstances.
Yeah, do you think that she can get a lesser of a sentence by pointing the finger if the judge goes along with that whole theory? I mean, who are the tears for here? Are they for herself or are they for those victims that she almost killed?
I mean, your question is very well pointed. I think that the judge really does need to hold her accountable. While all of these other things may be considered mitigating factors in terms of whether or not there would be any eligibility for parole or, for that sort of thing, or for rehabilitation based on her age and the fact that, of her no real prior criminal history here. But at the same time, life was taken, and an attempted murder was what was made in a very heinous and callous way. There is no undoing of that. And while we can certainly understand that there was this power dynamic between the defendants, and surely Mr. Reynolds' sentence should be harsher than hers. I do not think that her sentence, based on what she's indicated, should be otherwise reduced. The prosecution had the evidence that they had to move forward with this the way that they have with the case. It was not as though that her statement was necessary in order for them to get a conviction. She didn't, close any doors for them. I think that she has to take responsibility for what happened here, but I think that even in that responsibility, there has to be at least an open door for some level of mitigation. But that should come in the point of view of when eligibility for parole and the circumstances for parole should come.
Exactly right. Because you know what? By pleading no contest, that locks her into what that judge is required under the state legislature to sentence her at. All right, we do have to put a pause on our conversation, Marjorie. You're going to stick with us, but coming up, we're going to hear from the other defendant before the judge hands down their sentence. Is he going to point the finger at her? We're going to watch this together.
What if the court was concerned that you might be danger to our community if you were someday released from prison or when you are? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a danger. I just made a mistake. And I wasn't in my right mind.
My two best friends were just murdered.
Join me for a Court TV true crime series where we take you from the crime scene to the courtroom.
Donna Adelson hates every piece of grass that Dan Marcel ever walked on.
It's something that'll haunt all of us forever.
It always seemed like he was covering or deceiving.
This was a whole different level.
Victim to Verdict with Ted Rowlands, a Court TV original series. Season premieres September 27th.
Only on Court TV.
We are in the state of Florida this hour for the sentencing hearing in the tossed off a bridge case. Natalia Fonseca and Nafis Reynolds are being sentenced for trying to kill two men who were just trying to help them. One victim beaten and had his throat slit before being tossed off of a high bridge. Thankfully, he survived. Both defendants pleaded no contest to the charges, including first-degree attempted murder, in order to avoid a potential life sentence. Let's get you back to that Florida courtroom now where Reynolds is on the stand, and he's going to address the court.
I was a contract for so people's lives are destroyed by my actions and choices. I have made that brought me here today. The victim in all this, I'm deeply sorry. I pray I learned to forgive myself because of the shame, the grief, and regrets I found around the pain I caused. I still can't grasp the thought of how I allow myself to stoop to these levels to hurt somebody so tragically. I wouldn't be surprised if you never learned to forgive me. So I pray you heal and don't let it consume your life. I would also like to tell Natalia that I'm saying how sorry I am. I know I failed you, but you need me the most. Because of my actions, I destroyed your life in the process. I wish I could have helped you more. I wish there was a way I could set you free so you can have another chance at life. I can only imagine what's going through your mind and the emotions you're experiencing right now. I know I'm to blame for all your frustrations. I pray you use this time wisely and broken and work with your mental health. I pray you heal from all the pain and hurt you've been through and you learn to forgive me one day. I know you would expect me to leave and also be the person you always could come to. I'm sorry. I want to use this time I'm giving to better myself and be a better man and on the peace I need.
Nafis, as I was saying earlier, you're a young person. How old are you?
He's at 33.
33 years old. So Judge Noble might give you 30 years today. She might give you 20. She might give you 25. She might give you 15. What's your life going to look like when you ultimately leave prison? And to say it a better way, what if the court was concerned that you might be danger to our community if you were someday released from prison or when you are? What would you say to that?
Yeah, I wouldn't be a danger. I just made a mistake. And I wasn't in my right mind.
I heard the part of your letter where you offered apologies to the victims in this case. But you see the gentleman there in the red t-shirt in the second row. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to him?
Yeah, I'm sorry that I hurt you so bad. I really wish I could change it.
Still with us, trial attorney in the state of New York, Marjorie Mesidor. All right, what do you make about his statement? And you really had me thinking when you were talking about maybe this is a way to admit guilt and move forward when you are up for parole if you are granted that opportunity.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of your question.
You know, just talking about his statement just in general and how, you know, they are admitting guilt here.
They are admitting guilt. They are accepting responsibility. That is a factor, but it's not only the only factor. And candidly, it's not the most important fact.
Yeah.
The heinousness of the crime is at play here.
And that's what the
someone
judge
lost their life.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what the judge is going to consider, but I'm being told we have to get back in, Marjorie. Let's watch together. All right, we don't have that tape of the judge's final ruling, but what do you think it's going to be from this, Judge? What are you watching for, Marjorie? Thank you.
What I'm really watching for from this judge is really the level of intent that the judge was listening to, what happened to the victims, the impact of their lives after their horrible encounter with this couple, and that impact. And because their lives are forever changed, the defendants' lives also need to be forever changed. And there needs to be a seriousness of, accountability in that. I think that the judge is going to be heavy-handed, and I think that the only reason, if the judge doesn't go for the maximum, the only reason why that they would not would be because of the age of the individuals here.
Yeah, what goes into the decision-making to make a plea such as they did and not take it to trial?
I think that in a circumstance like this, a lot of it having to do with the level of evidence that they have, stacked against them, the heinousness of the crime, and whether or not a trial would not even irritate the judge or the system even more because of the overwhelming evidence and the heinousness of the crime. Another part of it can also be done is that if they really have extreme mitigating factors such as drug use, and I think that was somewhat alluded to here when he said that he was not in his right mind. They believe that by putting that forth and indicating that it was the drugs that were the source of this and not of their own sort of volition, that it would be appropriate for that to be addressed in a sentencing phase rather than in a liability phase.
Yeah, and I go back to the fact that they are taking responsibility, which is the first step in what we've covered with other parole hearings and things of that nature. Example is the Menendez brothers. They were criticized early on for not taking responsibility, but that could play a factor as they approach a possible, parole board down the road.
No, for sure. But again, it's only a factor. We care about that as human beings, right? We want people who do bad things to take responsibility. But how much responsibility is Mr. Reynolds taking? He's saying that he made a mistake. Cutting somebody at the throat and throwing them over the bridge, that's a pretty serious mistake.
And when you have two defendants that probably would have been tried together because they are being sentenced together, both accused of the same crimes, I'm actually being told by my producer that we have some of the arguments. Let's listen in.
Ms. Fonseca is taking responsibility for her action. She got up on there and she said what happened, and she said she took responsibility and she entered the plea. Not only did she enter the plea, she put herself at risk by cooperating against her co-defendant. And that information is going to follow her to state prison. Now, I know Mr. Longmire doesn't want her to get credit for that cooperation, but he admitted the cooperation happened. And when cooperation happens in a case like this, I think it's incumbent on the court to at least acknowledge and consider that in their sentencing of Ms. Fonseca. She has put herself at risk. That cooperation is going to follow this. We're on TV right now. It's going out on YouTube or wherever it's going. And everybody got to see it.
Passionate arguments there. Marjorie, you get the final word. About 30 seconds left. They are sentenced each to 30 years. Your reaction?
I think that it's just and proper. Under the circumstances, there was really no other way to go. My heart goes out to the victims, and I hope that these two individuals can turn their lives around.
Bingo. That is the best way to end this segment. Marjorie, thank you so much. Enjoy your weekend.